Something is going on right now, and the mainstream media is not being honest with us about what is happening. You see, many of us woke up this morning to the fact that the El Paso airport was completely shut down for 10 days, stopping all flights there in and out of the airport. Well, now, instead of it being closed for 10 days, we have suddenly been told the reason why, and they have reopened. But here's the deal. The reason that they're giving us, I don't believe, passes the smell test because, number one, an event like this, closing an airport for 10 days, has not happened since September 11th. Right? There better be a good dang reason for this. And number two, there are two other areas in the United States of America where there are flight restrictions still in effect for 5 to 10 days. And the mainstream media isn't saying anything about it. So kind of odd, if you ask me. But let's go to first the initial release, because I want to start backwards before I go forward to what Fox News had to say regarding this particular closure. Take a listen.
The FAA is halting all flights to and from El Paso, Texas for 10 days for unspecified special security reasons. And they're warning that any pilots who don't comply, quote, may be intercepted, detained, and interviewed by law enforcement. El Paso Airport confirming the news in a statement saying, in part, the FAA on short notice issued a temporary flight restriction halting all flights to and from El Paso. Commercial airlines operating out of El Paso are being informed of the restriction, which appears to be security related. Southwest, United, American, and Delta all operate flights there. And Fort Bliss Army Base is right next door.
Whoa, so there's a little key there. Fort Bliss Army Base is right next door to the area that suddenly got shut down. Now, pilots were so shocked by this. We actually got on record a conversation between air traffic control there and a pilot saying, what's going on? How long are you shut for? Take a listen to how shocked they were at this closure.
Just be advised, I guess there's a TFR going into effect. Just pass it on to the Southwest and everybody else. At 0630 for the next 10 days, we're stopped, all ground stop.
Okay, ground stop at 0630 for how long?
10 days.
So the airport's totally closed?
Apparently, we just got informed about 30 minutes to an hour ago.
So for 10 days, you guys are not open?
Well, I mean, we'll be here, but no air traffic.
Okay, thanks for that heads up.
Thanks for the heads up. I mean, we just got notice 30 minutes to an hour ago. Now I'm relaying the message. Strange, right? They will detain and interview any pilots that come in the area, and wow, boom, right on you. I believe there is a lot more to the story. But as a quick reminder, please make sure you're subscribed to the channel, share this video with everyone you know, and just a quick break from my sponsor. Well, we've previously talked about how Atomic Minerals changing under ATOM on the TSX venture and the ATMMF in the U.S. is positioned to answer America's urgent need for domestic uranium. And today, that story is truly moving faster than anybody expected. The $2.7 billion Department of Energy Uranium Enrichment Initiative isn't just a headline, it is a big game changer. This commitment signals that the United States government is serious about securing domestic uranium supply. And the market, well, it's responding. Uranium explorers with strategic assets and proven management are seeing increased investor interest. As the reality sets in, America needs these companies. This isn't about speculation. It's about national security. And our military relies on uranium for advanced defense systems, for our naval reactors, and even for strategic deterrence. With more news on the way and the support from our government, this story you're going to want to follow closely. Check out the link in the description box below to get more information, or go to atomicminerals.ca to find out more. By the way, check out that sponsor. They are absolutely amazing. But with that, like I said before, this doesn't pass the smell test, right? We have an hour, 30-minute to an hour notice on this airport that, suddenly things are closing down. Obviously, the airport didn't know. And hey, anybody in those skies can be detained, questions, fill in the blank, right? Well, Fox News actually put out a segment when all of this was happening, and they brought on an expert, and they're like, Okay, what could be the reason for this? And the answer that he gives is actually shocking. Take a listen to what was said.
Can you give us some scenarios where this may be necessary to close airspace for this duration?
Logical question.
This is what should have happened before Pearl Harbor. You don't shut down an entire airport and a city. We're not talking Mexico now. For 10 days for security reasons, unless we are at war. I'm sorry. This is major something where they're going to have, starting tomorrow to now, right now, they're going to be doing a sweep through El Paso to find out why they're doing this. We could be looking at a drone sweep. We could be looking at man pads. But I don't know who that congresswoman was you just quoted, but she really needs to get her head together, because you don't shut down a whole city for 10 days unless it's a major, major security threat, like a military threat.
And that's the thing. Again, this hasn't happened since 9/11, so what on earth is going on? And so he's like, there's got to be some kind of military threat, and he expands on that here.
Remember, we got cartels south of El Paso that are basically just uniformed thugs, and we have a president who has been shutting down their revenue over the last several months. So, look, this is not minor. This is something major. There's something in El Paso, in Santa Teresa, or places like that in that area that is a threat, and they're going to try to track it down. What I'm saying is, I think they might have discovered the next potential Pearl Harbor.
They might have discovered the next potential Pearl Harbor. That's not Fox News, by the way. They're one of the only ones that actually share some of the truth, right? They're a version of mainstream media. But anyway, really? I mean, God, I hope not. Maybe they did prevent it, right? And when you hear the answer that they gave, I'll let you kind of decide for yourself. But this is also another thing that went on. dailymail.co.uk. El Paso airport closure could see unauthorized planes shot down by the feds after travel hub was suddenly closed for 10 days for unspecified special security reasons. So, hey, if you see some planes being shot down by the United States government, just forget about it. Seriously? Huh. But it gets even more weirder when we get to their response. But like I said in the beginning, it wasn't just El Paso airport that was closed. It was other areas of airspace that were closed as well. Without explanation, FAA closes El Paso and New Mexico airspace for 10 days. The Federal Aviation Administration issued unexplained notices late Tuesday, closing airspace over El Paso and a large patch of New Mexico west of Santa Teresa. And I believe there's airports in those areas for 10 days. El Paso International Airport is closed to all flights, the city said. And again, not just those two areas. Also, restricted flights over New Orleans. Washington Examiner, FAA restricts flights over New Orleans and El Paso Airport for security reasons. Regarding New Orleans, since we already know about El Paso, in New Orleans, a separate NOTAM was issued early Wednesday morning for 5 separate areas with a radius of 3 nautical miles. No UAS operations are authorized in the areas covered by this NOTAM, read the alert for New Orleans. Temporary flight restrictions for specially security reasons was also given for that. No other information has been provided for the closures at this time. Now, speaking of the closures, right? As I said before, El Paso has now been open. Here is the actual Federal Aviation Administration. This is current as of the making of this video, which is the morning of February 11th. But you could see Santa Teresa still remains closed for 10 days from February 10th. That's yesterday until February 20th. And then also New Orleans through Wednesday, February 18th. That's a 5-day closure on one because it starts on February 13th. So here in a couple days, this to begin, and it will be a 5-day closure in New Orleans and a 10-day closure in Santa Teresa. And you can see there is no longer anything there regarding security reasons with El Paso. So, you expect things like hazards and space operations or VIP. These are normal or space issues, but security is a whole nother ballgame. So as you know, and as I've stated already, they have opened up El Paso. Here's El Paso Matters. FAA suddenly drops unprecedented air restrictions over El Paso. So what was the reason given? Well, here it is. And let me play for you I'm going to do Fox News, what they say the reason was. Take a listen.
The temporary closure of airspace over El Paso. It's now been lifted. The agency said there is no threat to commercial aviation. All flights will soon resume as normal. This comes hours after flights in and out of El Paso International Airport were closed, with officials citing special security reasons. So this is good news, but the mystery remains for those people who are heading home from El Paso.
All right, so there you have it. Cartel drones breaching the airspace.
The temporary closure of airspace over El Paso. It's now been lifted. The agency said there is no threat to commercial aviation. All flights will soon resume as normal. This comes hours after flights in and out of El Paso International Airport were closed, with officials citing special security reasons. So this is good news, but the...
All right, so what exactly were those special security reasons? Well, and this is on Newsbreak, Trump administration officials say El Paso airspace closure was tied to Mexican drug cartels. It goes on to state that a Trump administration official told the AP that the airspace over El Paso was closed after Mexican cartel drones breached the airspace. But the Defense Department took action to disable the drones. Both the FAA and the DOD, or the Defense Department, have determined there is no threat to commercial travel, said the official, speaking on condition of anonymity to discuss a national security issue. The official did not say how many drones were involved or what specifically was done to disassemble them. And of course, we have this from Sean Duffy. The FAA and DOW acted swiftly to address the cartel drone incursion. The threat has been neutralized and there is no danger to commercial travel in the region. The restrictions have been listed, at least listed for El Paso. That's it. So El Paso, the flights from El Paso, but again, it still remains in effect for Santa Teresa, as I said, and will be in effect there for New Orleans. Interesting to say the least. So, now, I don't know about you, but to close an airport for 10 days for a drone, I mean, maybe that's logical. I would be like, okay, let's close the airport for now until the drones are taken care of, and then let's move on, or a day or two. But to issue a full 10-day closure for security reasons, again, it's just not adding up for me, right? I mean, okay, so God forbid, what I want to know is what exactly were those drones doing or carrying? Was there any kind of, threat? God forbid, a nuclear threat or a missile threat of some sort, right? We know the cartel is psychotic, and Donald Trump is obviously pissed off the cartel. He's been blowing up boats and ships and really cracking down on the drugs that they're bringing into the country. Thank God crime is going down. Drug abuse and all of that is going down. These are good things. But could it have been some retaliation measures? And what the hell is happening in New Orleans? Why is that shut down? So, going to be shut down, shall we say, for security for 5 days. But anyway, Santa Teresa, why is that airspace closed and not El Paso, right? So anyway, I'd love to get your thoughts, comments, and concerns. I obviously think that it could be bigger than what they're saying. Maybe the cartel has a bigger threat at stake. Maybe they already took care of it. But I don't think that it just can be simple as there was just a couple of drones. We took them out. It's all done. I think that there was a bigger threat, and I pray to God that they did neutralize it and take care of it. I have faith in the Trump administration that they absolutely will. But with all of that, that's kind of my insight on that. Again, I mean, it could have been war related too, but considering it's on the border makes me lean more on cartel, and I think that there was a bigger threat than what they're letting on. But anyway, you can read through the lines on that. I want to hear your thoughts, comments, and concerns on the whole thing. I love all of you. And by the way, I want you guys to check out my new channel. I didn't pull it up here. But on YouTube, it's called Lisa Report. And this is the channel. This is my new YouTube channel. Please subscribe to it. I've been putting exclusive videos. You could see videos I posted there. I'm not posting here. So get free content there on the Lisa Report. Subscribe there. And this is just another way that I can touch base with you because not all my notifications are getting out. So subscribe to my new channel. I'll put a link in the description box below as well. Anyhow, I love you all. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Lisa Haven, signing out.